Hi, I'm George. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to give you my top 5 tips for overcoming an artist's block. So artist's block is something which can happen to a lot of artists. Perhaps you aren't feeling much inspiration to paint, or you're struggling to find ideas which excite you, or perhaps you're lacking a bit of confidence in your skills to actually start the painting. Firstly, you're not alone. There's certainly points when I feel like this, and I know other artists and creatives in general go through periods in their career where they aren't particularly inspired, but they're less productive, and then other times where they're a lot more productive. And I'm going to try and help you with my top 5 tips for how to get out of an artist's block, how to overcome it, because there is nothing better than the feeling of waking up in the morning and having a painting on the go that you're just really enthusiastic about. Whether that's a painting you're working on for a number of days or weeks, like these two behind me, or perhaps it's going to be a plein air painting or an alla prima or portrait where you're going to go and trying to get it done in one go. So my first tip is try and visit some art galleries. Now, I'm quite lucky because I live in London, so there's a lot of good art galleries, and I'm actually going to make another video about my top 5 favourite art galleries in London, so keep an eye out for that. One of the nice things about going to art galleries is you get to see different paintings and drawings or whatever art you're interested in. I always find whenever I go to a gallery, I get a lot more inspiration to go back and paint. And I think there's a few reasons for this. Often the paintings in the gallery are by exceptionally good artists, so that gives me inspiration actually getting to see their work in person. And also I get to see paintings of subjects that perhaps I haven't considered painting, or perhaps I didn't think would make for a nice painting, but then I go in the gallery and I see a scene that someone's painted and they've done such an amazing job that then gives me inspiration to paint a similar scene. And I also think there is something to go into an art gallery, especially one of the historic art museums like the National Gallery or the Tate Britain, and seeing these paintings in these really beautiful historic buildings and seeing all these other art enthusiasts looking around and admiring the paintings. It reminds me that art is a really valuable thing to society and that people really do appreciate it. Because sometimes if you're spending all week in your art studio, you can forget that people actually really do appreciate what you do and the craft of painting and drawing or whatever art that you're into. And you can also see paintings which are in a genre that you're doing, which perhaps you may have been told, oh, this sort of painting isn't popular, but then you go into an art gallery and you see people appreciating that sort of painting. So that is my first tip. So my second tip to overcome artist block is to travel, get a change of scenery. Some of my favourite paintings that I've ever painted have come from the inspiration that I get from travelling, experiencing different cultures, seeing different scenery, and I find it can be a really refreshing and exhilarating experience and can certainly get you out of a dip. So one of the places I went which gave me so much inspiration was Brazil, and I've actually been there quite a few times and even had a solo art exhibition at the Embassy of Brazil in London. And these two paintings behind me were both inspired from trips to Brazil. This one is a seascape of a beach in Ubatuba, and the one behind me is based on a Brazilian novel based in the 1600s, written in the 1800s, which became very popular through Brazil. And learning of this story gave me inspiration to paint more of a narrative scene. But when I talk about travel, you don't have to travel to the other side of the world. It could literally just be going to a park, going to a different town in your country, walking out in the countryside and seeing different scenery. I find this is a great way to get more inspiration, and so many of my paintings come from travel. Okay, so going on to the third point. So this one I would say is try and meet other artists and go to either like a drop-in life drawing session, perhaps a plein air painting meetup. So in London they have the plein air painting group which meets once a month, and they always go to a different location within London because it can be quite hard to decide where you want to paint. And that is again one of those problems with artist block. You think, oh, maybe I don't want to paint there. That place could be interesting, but then maybe you find a reason why you don't want to go. With this group, they meet in a different location each month, and that way you don't have to think about it too much. You can just meet them at the location, paint with a whole load of other artists, and whether you're feeling motivated or not, if you go out there, you meet the artist, you paint, then I'm always very happy that I went. And again, that can start a chain reaction to get you out of that artist block and get you back to being more productive. On to my fourth point now, and this one is to try and enter painting competitions. Now, one of the hardest things about being an independent artist is finding the motivation to push myself to create paintings, to finish paintings. If you enter competitions, sometimes there's a theme, and that can help with the creative process. You can narrow down what sort of subject you want to paint, and if there's a deadline, then that gives you a bit of motivation to actually get the painting finished. So this painting behind me, the reason I managed to finish it, I would say, is because there was a deadline. So I thought, okay, I really have to get this done and finish the painting. Before I started it and it was just lying around in my art studio, then an art competition came up and I thought, okay, I'll try and enter it into that competition. And I haven't got the result, so whether the painting gets accepted to the competition or not, it doesn't really matter, because that deadline of the competition gave me the motivation to get the painting done. And this, again, I did a small plein air painting out in Brazil. I liked the composition, I liked the colours, I really enjoyed my time here on this beach. And then I went back to the studio here in London and painted it on a bigger scale. So definitely keep an eye out for competitions. I know the Mal galleries, they put on a lot of different competitions. In general, there's a lot of different open calls to artists, and some of them have really good prizes, so definitely keep an eye out for those. So my fifth and final point for overcoming an artist block. This one is more of an exercise that you can do. You don't need much space, you could do it at home or in your art studio, and that is to do some small master copies of paintings that you really like. So I really enjoy going online, looking on Instagram and trying to find paintings that I like. I follow a few different historical art pages which are sharing paintings from different time periods. A lot of paintings from the 1800s, which was a bit of a golden age for representational painting. And there's so many artists that I don't know anything about. So what I do is I click save on the picture, and then I basically create a gallery on my phone of all these different paintings that I like. And then if I'm in my studio and perhaps I'm not feeling that motivated, I'm not sure what to paint, I'll just do a quick colour study, just a few hours, trying to get the composition, the colours, the tonal values of that painting. And I promise you, you'll learn a lot from it, because ultimately painting, especially representational painting, is a visual language. So you're translating the 3D world around you into a 2D image. And by looking at their paintings and really observing them and copying them, you'll learn so much from doing this. It's almost like having a one-to-one painting session with that great artist who probably isn't around anymore. And this is definitely a good thing to do if you're not sure what you want to paint. And even if you do have paintings on the go, you're busy with commissions, it's still a good thing to do, to spend a bit of time just studying those paintings. So I hope this video was useful. If you're experiencing an artist block, hopefully this will help you. And if you've got any tips, things which you do, then please comment in the comment section below, and that way other artists can read it and hopefully that will help them too. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, give the video a like if you enjoyed it. You can also follow me on George Frederick Thomas on my Instagram. Do give me a super thanks if this video was particularly helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.